Hello there. A bit warm at the moment, isn't it? I actually planned to do this video 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I've not been particularly well. I've had issues with the virus, which has then caused issues with my liver, and then we've got the heat as well. So I've basically spent the best part of 4 weeks in bed. This is the longest I've been out of bed for probably about 4 weeks, actually. And it's that thing of I could probably handle the virus, or the liver, or the heat, but having all three at once has just completely knocked me out. So there's not really been much that I've been up to. Although I did, before it got really bad, go to my job interview that I spoke about last time. I was really confident coming out of it as well, because after they did the "Have you got any questions for us?" they then started asking me questions like what my views were on temperature for air conditioning in an office. So I thought, that's not really a normal interview question, so I'm pretty confident here. And I actually got beaten to the job by someone else by 1 point on scoring. So I didn't get the new job, but they've put me on what they call a select list, which basically is just if another job comes up in that department in the next year, it's mine without interview if I want it. So fingers crossed something happens with that. But at the moment my focus is trying to get out of bed for more than a few hours at a time. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to, because I've been really quite ill. So I'll go into pickups pretty swiftly. These will have been things that have been sent to me, things I bought through Car Boots before I was ill, and also I went to the Norwich Gaming Festival at the end of last month. Got a couple of bits there. One in particular that I was very excited about, but most people would go, that's pretty pointless. But I'm happy to have it. And I also, in Norwich there's a cafe called Slice and Dice, which is a board game cafe. You pay by the hour to have a table. They have a thing there, and I went with the children. We played this really fun game called Cheese Thief, and it's literally, you've got like a sponge piece of cheese in the middle. You've each got your own your own dice to find out kind of at what point you open your eyes, and then the cheese thief takes the cheese during their time, and you try and work out who the thief is. So we bought that while we were there, but I've not got it in here to show you. But anyway, that's enough about me doing nothing. This is the stuff that I've picked up. So from the game festival, a couple of years ago, I bought myself Sword of Vermilion on the Mega Drive. And with Sword of Vermilion, you've got the game, you've got the case, you've got the manual, but there was also like a walkthrough guide that came with it, which very few copies, comparatively few, actually have that in there, because it's too big to comfortably fit in the case. And there was someone selling a complete one, but I only wanted the walkthrough guide, so I bought the walkthrough guide for Sword of Vermilion. It is Genesis branded rather than Mega Drive branded, but at least I've got that, so I can have a proper guided playthrough of that at some point when I'm better. The other thing that I picked up for myself in the game festival, something I've had my eye on for quite some time, and that is a PS Vita. I enjoy my PSP, I enjoy the UMDs on it, but I also just wanted to play the newer games on the Vita, and I've started playing a lot more handheld stuff in the last year or so. So I picked that up, and it was soft modded as well, so there's like emulators loaded into it, so you can download games for the Vita. So that's nice to have, nice to play them, just not great when it comes to whether or not I'm going to be collecting games for it. So it's a little bit of halfway house really. But after the Games Festival, I decided to buy myself some Lego, and I bought myself the Lego Mega Drive with its dangling controllers. It's not the most fun Lego set I've ever had. I would have liked it to be more like closer to full size, like the Game Boy one was, because I appreciate it's a cheaper set, but it was just a little bit underwhelming. There is a nice little hidden detail. If you remove this, you've got Sonic the Hedgehog in the console as well. But in terms of how much fun it was to actually put it together and how it looks overall, I'm much happier with the Game Boy, which it's not quite visible on there, but much happier with the Game Boy. It's a much more fun build. It's probably about £15 more, so I'd say it's worth the extra for how much better it is. Then we've got, what have I got here? I've got bits that I bought from car boot sales. So this was a nice little one to have, just because it was a PS1 game that was £1. I enjoyed Cool Spot on the Mega Drive, so I thought Spot Goes to Hollywood could be nice to have a little bit of a PlayStation play on as well. By the looks of it, it's a bit more isometric gameplay rather than platforming, but it's all nice little bit of interest more than anything else. So that's really all there is to it for that. And then also from the same car boot, again, I'm saying again a hell of a lot today, sorry. I've still got a bit of brain fog going on. I like getting the books that used to come free with magazines. So I've got Max Tactics, which came with PlayStation Max issue 23, with a complete solution to Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII is one that I've never played before. I've never actually played 7 either. I think because I went straight in at 9, and I enjoyed that so much that none of the others have really hooked me in. I played a lot of 10 when it first came out, and I got through a lot of it very quickly. And on that playthrough, I ended up at one of the bosses, but I was massively underpowered, and I just couldn't beat it at all. But because of where the save point is, I couldn't go further back to then do any grinding to strengthen up, so I was just completely soft-locked by how well I'd managed to do up to that point. So 10 is one I probably will visit at some point in the future. But I digress. I also got Your Most Wanted cheats from Games Master magazine. So we've got cheats for FIFA Street, a full solution to Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, every car unlocked in Gran Turismo 4, along with loads of others. Cheats are fun. You don't really tend to get too many cheats anymore because it all tends to go behind a paywall rather than behind a code now, which is a bit sad. Oh well. So now we've got PlayStation Magazine presents. Apparently it's every PS2 cheat ever. I doubt it is every single one ever, but there's over 100 pages of hot cheats for all your PS2 games. Then we've got another one which was from Play Magazine. I didn't know Play Magazine was around back then, but we've got 148 pages this time of PS2 cheats A to Z. So well, it's not particularly interesting, but as you can see, we've just got the A to Z compared to the every cheat ever, and it's twice as thick. So I think they may not quite have every cheat ever. We'll see. I've also got this came from NGC, which I'm guessing is Nintendo GameCube magazine. But I've got the complete Zelda encyclopedia, which annoyingly just now it's stuck to another book, so it's taken off some of the cover. Then we've also got the complete solution to The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Wind Waker was one that I completely avoided for years because I wasn't particularly keen on the art style right from the off. And I played it, and it's one of, if not my absolute favourite Zelda game. It's just a nice game to play. So we also have, we have another one from PSM magazine, which is every PS2 cheat ever. So I've got every single cheat 3 times now. And then I also have the Ultimate PlayStation Quiz Book, which, if you know me away from these videos, I do like quizzes. I particularly like writing them personally, but I love a good quiz. So that might be something that I go and use for reference in the future. But when I went to the car boot for those books, I asked him how much he wanted for them, and then he said how much he wanted, and then he started to haggle with himself, and then brought the price right down, which seems a very strange way to try and sell stuff. But either way, it got me everything cheaper than he initially quoted, without me having to do any haggling myself. Some people are a bit strange. And then my last pickups from car boot sales. Again, if you've watched me for any length of time, you will know that I do like a good demo disc. So I've got a couple of Xbox magazine demo discs with playable demos of Blinks, Quantum Redshift, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Tiger Woods Tour 2003, and ATV Quad Racer. I do apologise, but this one I think will be a bit more of my thing, because we've got the Return to Castle Wolfenstein Tides of War playable on the disc, along with Mortal Kombat, Kung Fu Chaos, V-Rally 3, Jaeger, never heard of that one, and Mech Assault. So when I'm better, I'm going to try doing a few, explore the different demo discs at some point, but we'll see how long that takes. But while I've been ill, obviously a few people have been aware, but not everyone. But one person is Gazcon, who I think I initially encountered him through this, and now he's on the Unofficial Controller podcast Discord as well. And he's recently bought himself a PSP, but I think he bought an NTSC version and had some UMDs that were PAL. So he has sent me, I think that one is Chain Reaction, which I remember watching that with my mum when I was probably about 12. Pretty fun movie. I've not seen it for getting on for 30 years, so we'll see whether that still holds up with Morgan Freeman and Keanu Reeves. And then this one I've heard of, but I've never watched it, and I've got no idea what it's about. And it's The Descent. So if you know what it's about, please give me your opinion on it, because I like to prioritise what I'm going to try watching. And the other film that he sent me is Die Hard 4, which I do like a good Die Hard movie. I think this is the one that's also got the it's not a cameo, but it includes Kevin Smith playing a conspiracy theorist in it, and I do like Kevin Smith. I find him very funny, so that's going to be a fun one to watch. I might even do like a full Die Hard watch through at some point soon, because I've not watched a lot of them for a long time. But now we move on to the SNES games, because again, as you know, I'm going for all of the movie-based games for the SNES. But the first two that I've got are not movie-based. So the first one we've got here is Looney Tunes Roadrunner, which I seem to recall playing this. May not be this version, may have been on a different console, but I've definitely played a Roadrunner game somewhere. I remembered it being fun, it was pretty cheap, so I thought I'd add that into the collection. And then I made a bit of a faux pas. I was looking for the movies, and rather than getting the Power Rangers movie, I got myself just the normal Power Rangers game. But I think, whereas the Mega Drive Power Rangers game was just like a one-on-one fighter the whole way through, this one is much more like Streets of Rage kind of style, kind of beat 'em up, where you go through the different, like a bit like Rita's Rewind that was released a year or so ago, where you go through as not a Power Ranger until you've beaten enough of the lower ranked ones to then turn into a Ranger. So that's going to be much more my kind of thing than the Mega Drive Power Rangers game. But the movie-based ones that I've got 4 of them here, and all of these were eBay purchases, I think. And they're all films that I've definitely seen. One of them is an awful film, and one of them is a game that I was deliberating over whether or not to include when I started doing this. So the first one is Judge Dredd, which I know is not most people's favourite superhero or comic-based movie, but I remember the first time I watched it I was probably about 10, and we'd dropped my sister off at a slumber party, and it was miles away from home, and we worked out that it would actually be cheaper to stay in a hotel nearby and then pick her up the next day rather than driving all the way home to then drive her back, then drive all the way home again. So I remember being allowed to watch that on pay-per-view in the hotel room while my mum and stepdad were eating in the restaurant and probably having a drink or two in the bar. But because of that, it's just ingrained in my memory that that's a really cool film. I've also picked up The Addams Family, which was considerably cheaper for the SNES than it was for the Mega Drive, and I think that's also the case for the Addams Family Values. Then this one is such a bad movie, so bad, but Cutthroat Island, which is a nice piratey themed movie. Well, it's not a nice movie, but the game is supposed to be much better than the movie. And yeah, it was just so bad. It's got no real redeeming features. There's like one really good set piece which involves like a carriage chase through a town, but beyond that, it's instantly forgettable. But this is the one that I was deliberating over for ages, and that is Jurassic Park 2: The Chaos Continues. And the reason I deliberated over this one is obviously you've got the movie Jurassic Park, then the game based on the movie. This is a sequel to the first game rather than one based on the sequel movie. So it's a continuation of the story of the movie, but without actually being connected to the movie in any way whatsoever. So it was should I get it, should I not? But then I also thought, it's Jurassic Park. I bloody love Jurassic Park. So that is another one added into the collection. So I think I've got probably just under half of the movie games for the SNES now. I've got some really expensive ones coming up, which I'm probably going to be selling off a few things that I don't use and will never use to finance those. So yeah, we'll see how that gets on when I'm better. So if you've lasted this long, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.